Good evening, and welcome to another disgusting episode of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your disappointed and disgruntled host, Voice of Doom. Alright. I was just gonna allow the rot and the mold to continue to fester and grow for a few days before I finally put my 2 cents in about this mess of our own creation by our own complacency and stupidity and just allowing things to happen which never should have happened in the first place. Now I'm going to discuss what everyone's been talking about, and that is the pillaging and systematic raping of our resources by criminals. And it starts at the top and it goes down deep into the ground with roots that stretch for miles. Okay, we all know what's happening in this so-called state of Minnesota, which should be ousted from the Union. If it was up to me, I would declare Minnesota a no man's land for civilized people and turn it into a giant prison. And that's a big state, and there would be plenty of room to put everybody in there. And I'm talking about everybody. Now, this Somalian thing makes me believe that these third world people have been playing us for fools, because these guys aren't dumb. I don't know why their countries are all in shambles and why they can't get anything done other than the fact that it's all corrupt to the bone and only the top mucky mucks get a piece of the pie and the rest of them just go hungry. And they kill each other and war with each other and starve to death and get diseases and die. But these Africans are not stupid. Otherwise, how do you get a bunch of people from some backwater country called Somalia to move over here en masse and start pillaging and taking all the money, making millions, hundreds of millions of dollars through false schemes and playing on the sympathy of the American populace, which it's going to run its course. I don't know why it hasn't already. It should have run its course years ago. But it started with the COVID and the doling out of money. And these third worlders, in their little turbans, whatever else they wear, figured out a way to steal money by the millions. They did it by creating different entities which didn't exist and submitting that to the government and letting the money roll in, because there was no one there to get it but the criminal who created the scheme. Okay, so they get money and buy houses and buy mansions and live high on the hog. Great. Send the money back to Somalia, who in turn, some El Shabaab or whatever the hell it's called, gets their cut, terrorist group. So we're funding terrorism. That's really smart. It's real smart. Okay. So since they got away with that so well, they decided, let's expand our operations a bit. And it was always something that you could never really put your finger on or keep track of. It's not like, please give me a refugee loan for, $500,000 so I can build a building for, tangible asset. Like, if we give you the money, then we want to see what you're doing with it. No. They play on our most vulnerable qualities as Americans, to use autism, to use daycare, to use food banks, to use housing for disabled people. All these things, just like when you get phone calls from somebody, would you like to give to the widows and children of dead firemen? No, I don't want to do that. To hell with them. Nobody wants to say that. So you end up feeling sorry for the kids, and then whether the money you might send goes to those kids and wives, widows, you never really know, do you? That's why I never answer my phone, because I'm a soft sell. I'm a soft person. And I will feel sorry for everybody. And I'd rather see everybody rich on this planet before me, because I feel like it's not fair if I make anything and somebody else doesn't. So that's why I'm poor. But I don't answer my phone unless I know who it is. And if they don't leave a message, then I'm certainly not going to call them back. So they can call me all they want, and I'm not going to respond. It was a waste of time for them. But back to Somalia. Okay. Eventually you're going to have Somalia be rich. There's going to have skyscrapers and casinos. Make Las Vegas look like a podunk two-horse shay. And meanwhile, here in America, we are getting poorer and poorer, and nobody can afford to live. Now, I don't know when the phrase "you can't fight City Hall" started, but I think it began probably post-World War II, when we were really doing well economically, that suddenly lots of money was being thrown at all kinds of programs, and there was corruption in the government. And people assume you can't fight City Hall. They also assume that every politician is corrupt. They stand up and clap and have conventions for their candidate and cheer them, and the minute they get into office, they hate them because we know that they're corrupt. So you gotta paint with a broad brush. And even the honest politicians have to face the fact that people think they're all crooks. And then there's nothing we can do about it. We know the government's corrupt. We know that all the millions and billions of dollars we send overseas is being kept by a few elite people and not ever getting to what it's supposed to be. Let's send aid to Haiti. Let's send aid to Somalia. Let's send aid to wherever. Let's send aid to Indonesia that just suffered a hurricane, knowing full well that most of the money is going into the pocket of the elites of that particular area. You can't do more than... We all know what's going on, but oh well. We all know that the Somalians have taken up to and probably more than $2 billion in fraudulent funds for things that probably really could use help. Autism, homeless, disabled, food banks, etc. But there's nothing we can do about it. We know that Ilhan Omar was worth $65,000 back in 2020, and by 2025 she's worth $30 million. Now, if it was me, if I had a windfall and I had $65,000 and I parlayed that into $30 million, I bet you anything that the IRS would be going through every single expenditure I made to see how in the hell I amassed that much money. But since she's a person of color and a Muslim who's been married 4 times, including once to her brother, which is against the law, And since she wears a shahab or a shihab or a habib or whatever the hell it is, she's off limits to persecution. And that's going to have to come to a stop, like in the next 5 or 10 minutes. This free passes because you're part of the underclass or you're part of some special protected group. That better end soon, because people look at $2 billion and it's like, shrug. We know everybody's corrupt. We know all the immigrants coming in here are corrupt. And will do anything they can to scam us. After they've already scammed us with their free apartments and their free food, their stamps and their free credit cards, and free phones. You can't assimilate. Well, we don't want you to assimilate. We're not going to assimilate. And these Somalians, I mean, they get up and they talk. They think because they can speak a different language that nobody in America can understand us. They say outright, we care about Somalia. We don't give a crap about the U.S. and we will extract as much as we can from them. That's just the way it is in this here third world mentality that we got. And we're getting rich. So don't let them fool you. Don't let them think that these guys are stupid. You have to have a brain to set up a shell company, no matter how lax the Minnesotan politicians are or how corrupt they are. You still need to look like you're doing something. So I think people eventually, they're not going to do anything right now. There'll probably be way more. I think something's happening in Maine where the same thing is happening, and we'll find out that every blue state has corruption and graft and scams. And when you get to California, I bet you'll find out that hundreds of billions of dollars have been given away, because that keeps the equilibrium. That keeps the newcomers in line with everybody else. I got a $200,000 manufactured home and they get a mansion, but that's equilibrium for you. And mine's not even paid off. Now, people will put up with it until the coffers run dry, or until we have to print so much money just to pay the interest on the debt that we become Weimar Germany, and piles of cash is needed just to go to the grocery store. Or they just digitize money and hide the whole thing under the rug, sweep it under there, and start again with a whole new system. And we'll just forget about our bonds and stuff. If you bought bonds, oh well, that was stupid of you. And we'll be bankrupt for a while and see what happens. But then people are going to get angry. And I don't want to think about what people might do, because by that time they'll be pushed against the wall and they'll have nothing to lose. And I'm not going to say what could happen, because I don't think YouTube would like it. But it's bad. And we shouldn't have to put up with it. And I think we never really got outraged in the first place. And now that we have something to really be outraged about, we are exhausted by just trying to survive. Just trying to work 2 or 3 jobs in order to afford our bills. So, yeah, everybody's saying what I've already been saying. 26 is going to be the worst. It's all going to come to a head in 26. So forget about everything of having any good luck or any good year or anything. And the richest people will suffer the most. And they got to arrest people. Don't deport them. You put them in Alligator Alley or Guantanamo for stealing $100 million. Including the damn politicians. Why the hell are they so sacrosanct? Sick of that. Third world countries put their presidents in jail if they break the law. They don't have any qualms about putting their leaders in jail. But not in America, because we're too good. We would never elect politicians who are corrupt. So all the politicians get away with murder unless you're some Republican guy from Illinois who made some promise about some Senate seat, and then he gets tossed in jail for a couple of years because of corruption. Once in a while you have a scapegoat. You have a guy who has to be the Jesus Christ of politicians, take the punishment for everybody so they can all go along their merry way, stealing or looking the other way, getting kickbacks, everything. I mean, I say Walsh he should die in prison. And not because I don't like his policies. He is a criminal to the core. Madoff went to prison and died there. But he was a white guy, wasn't he? An old white man, so... Well, Walsh is an old white man. Well, I won't say man, but whatever the hell he is, he's a Caucasoid. So he should go to jail for life, along with all his henchmen. And if you start peeling the onion, then you can start sending everybody to prison. And I mean like thousands and thousands of major politicians, including ex-presidents. But it probably won't happen. So what will happen is we'll run out of money, there'll be rioting, and God help the immigrants in this country when people get to the end of their rope. So I'm warning everybody, correct it now. Sick of this whole thing. Alright, that's it. I raged enough. I can go on like this forever. Alright, have a good night, and let's hope we have another tomorrow. Bye.